died, fell in it. There was big trees and everything coming down, and they would just take the fence out. Where I built my house in 1925, well, it was out before my time, but I'm about the year. The field was in, my dad had corn planted there. It was still just the first year they said you ever saw. Well, it wiped it completely. The fence, field completely away. It never was put back because of it. But I can remember the flood of 35. And you'd have to live on Onion Creek to imagine the water that comes down. It's just unbelievable how much when it heads in Blanco. And when they get a big rain up Blanco, Blanco County comes down. And I've been about to drive twice in my lifetime. I've seen that creek come down. It'd be just as dry as this table right here. U.S. back there, Bill back there, and I was, you know where Gulf Springs is up there. We was fishing there one afternoon. The spring had a big hole of water. Onion Creek was dry. And it came during this storm, thunder and lightning up the creek there and all. But we kept fishing. Well, we had our string of fish, fixed to leave, and we'd walking down the bed of the creek. And you could hear this roar. We looked back, and it was a 3-foot roll of water. And we walked fast enough to the head of that roll of water. And then, I guess it's been about 6 or 8 years ago, it was dry and came down. And I've seen the second time that water coming down that creek.
The drought business, you probably, if you've been around just a few years, you've probably seen a pretty serious drought in recent time. And anybody who pays attention to anything in recent years also saw tremendous flood in the Guadalupe that sent water up 50 feet or so. You could see, you know, fences and dead trees and everything that far up in the trees on the Guadalupe. And of course, the Blanco does the same thing at Wimberley and up near Blanco. But when we bought that property, it really was just dust bowl. And there's a gentleman, I don't think he's still in Hays County. Is Sela in Hays County? You know, over toward Johnson City. That's Blanco. That's Blanco. Okay, well, there's this wonderful gentleman who has a ranch called Sela over close to Johnson City, and he's made a demonstration of how you can reestablish your native grasses by cutting off your cedar, and which we all now know sucks up the water like nobody's business. And also my dad, when he being kind of a scientific person, he did a lot of research into what kind of grasses to plant. So he very consistently and determinedly planted native grasses in the 50s and 60s before it became the thing to do. Unfortunately, he also got some advice from A&M, which usually is pretty good advice. However, this time it wasn't all that great. They were very high on coastal Bermuda, which is, we now know, KR Blue Stem, which is not all that great as a feed grass. So anyway, there's a lot of KR Blue Stem at Storm Ranch, which we wish wasn't there. But it's just as hard to get rid of as anything that you can imagine.
And it's not a native grass. It was introduced, King Ranch brought it over from Africa because it was very drought tolerant, really tough grass. Great for erosion control, but the animals don't really like to eat it. So, very pretty when it's in seed head though.
You know, I think one thing we're hearing today that I just want to emphasize what our friends are sharing with us. Got too big a mouth, I talk too loud. We're talking about grass, we're talking about floods, we're talking about droughts. And for those of you who are not in ranching and not been around ranching, you can have 10 good years, and then you have a bad year, and it'll take you back to square one. I think that's why I appreciate so much what y'all been able to hold together all these years.